Look for those things. Notice those things. Pause. Just soak it in for just 3 seconds, 3 minutes, if you can, because it will start to rewire your brain.
Hey everybody, we're back for another edition of Quick Bites as I amuse my fellow colleagues in the room with my delightful radio voice. I am here. My name's Eric Noctigal, and I'm here with the lovely, fantastic, wonderful, insightful, and golden nugget of knowledge dropper, Ginger Lumen from the Resilience team at ESSDACK.
He doesn't even write these things down. They just flow right out.
When you're sitting by somebody so inspirational as yourself, they just flow out of you.
You are very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ginger, The word resilience.
Yes.
We all need to have resilience. And I want to support resilience, building that in my students every day. What can I do?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, but I think today I would like to talk a little bit about the concept of joy, and I want to pause in talking about kids. This works with kids too, but that's not where I want to start. I want to start with ourselves, the adults, because if we are not in a safe, steady space, it's going to be hard to help support our kids. You know, it's the old concept of putting on the oxygen mask before helping others. You know, I can't help you if I'm passed out and dead. So, and if I'm going to help someone else, I've got to make sure I'm in a good, steady spot. And so the concept of joy is something that people are talking more about in this work, and that joy is not exactly the same thing as happiness. And so how do we start to utilize what is joy? What does it look like, feel like, and how does it impact us differently? So I'm just curious if you're listening here, if you think just for a second, joy versus happiness. When you think of those two things, what's showing up in your body? Is there a difference in the sensations that you're noticing when you think of each one of these? Joy, having joy in the world, or experiencing happiness. And a lot of people, if you're feeling the same thing with each one of those, you would be very normal. But I'm going to tell you they're not the same. See, joy is a nervous system experience. It's not just an emotion. It lives in our bodies. It shows up as lightness, a connection or openness and safety. When we experience joy, our bodies move toward regulation. Our heart rate steadies, our breath gets deeper and slower, and our brain becomes more flexible when we're experiencing joy. And so that really can help us think, learn, and behave better. Joy is also different from happiness, as I said, because it's deeper. It's more durable than just happiness. I'm just happy for a moment. Yay, I got my free fries, you know. But there's
I was thinking, okay, when you said that real quick, because you said fries, I was thinking, oh, when I get to pick a dessert, I'm happy.
See, there you go.
But joy, like you're saying, was bigger, deeper, more elevated. So you're doing a better job of describing, but you're right. That's what came to my mind.
Right. Happiness is tied to those circumstances of something went well, right? Or getting what we want, your free dessert. Where joy, on the other hand, it can coexist with stress and with grief or with challenge. But it's that steady undercurrent of, I'm okay enough right now. And that's what makes it such a powerful regulation tool. So things may be going a little wonky, but I noticed that this thing, and you know what? That brings me a little joy. My coffee didn't go cold first this morning, or it stayed cold instead of getting tepid, or that I noticed the beautiful dandelion in my yard, which normally for a lot of people would irritate, but I looked at it, it was just so sunny this morning. And I looked at it on that beautiful sea of green. I thought, oh, that thing is just happy. You know, and I take a moment to think about it. And I'm like, yeah, that's a little piece of joy. And so joy also creates that connection, and connection regulates the brain. So joy can also look like a moment of shared laughter or eye contact or play. And those release those chemicals of the serotonin, which is the happiness hormone, the oxytocin, if it's that eye contact, the prolonged or the long 20-second hug. These are the chemicals that help calm the stress response. And it's not just internal. It's not just an emotion inside. It really is relational. So when we create more of these joyful moments, it's how and when we are co-regulating. It also builds resilience by widening our window of tolerance. You're familiar with the window of tolerance, right?
Yep.
You know, the more open the window of tolerance is, the more I can be okay getting bumped high or low. Something really great happened, yay! It doesn't send me over the top. As something bad that I don't get too high or too low with my arousal state, to be brain science about it, right? And so when I've got the joy, I'm able to handle stress without being overwhelmed, without shutting down, without overcompensating on the hyper arousal side. It literally strengthens the brain's ability to bounce back. And a lot of it is because we're doing it with another person. And I think the best part about joy is that it can be intentionally practiced. That even in the hard moments, we can say, I'm going to take a moment and find some joy here. I don't have to wait for the big moments to happen. That's happiness. You know, that just happens to me. That I can intentionally say, I'm going to listen to this music right now. It's going to be super powerful, and I'm going to dance my butt off in the kitchen when I'm making or it's going to be something that's super moody and brings me a little calm, or it's going to be, you know, the music, whatever you need. For me, it's probably some hardcore punk, right? That's going to bring me some joy. Maybe not for everybody. Maybe it's movement. Like I said, dancing, shaking your booty around. Those two are amazing to bring a little joy, to dance to that little song, maybe just one song, maybe a part of a song. Noticing the beauty. That was me and the dandelion. Just there it was. I'm going to go take its head off tonight. But still, in that moment, it was beautiful. And having a sense of humor, noticing the absurdities and giggling about things, or the gratitude of, gosh, I'm just real lucky. In so many ways, I'm really lucky. And to know it in the big and the small ways, that not everybody has that opportunity to fill in the blank with whatever. And so those practices help to rewire the brain to start to notice the beauty, the joy in the world around us, and helps to bring that calm and steady state to our world. So joy, enduring, lasting.
That's beautiful. As you're so eloquently talking about joy, so I'm just over here thinking, like, moments when I truly have had a joyful, not just moment, but just a joyful outlook, a joyful presence. And I know it doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't always have to be, but so many of those things that are coming to my heart, coming to my mind when I felt just an overall presence of joy was usually with somebody, at least many times with somebody. And then I started thinking of it at school, like kids I'm teaching, joy can be both, sometimes maybe even in the hard moments when you're supporting a kid through a hard moment and they're getting through it and they're growing through it and they appreciate your presence and they're thinking, I made a mistake, but I'm going to be okay. I mean, there could be joy in that, but there's also joy in sitting down and helping with an academic assignment, bouncing a ball with them. I mean, just a lot of those, it came to my heart or my mind that just, wow, a lot of the joy I felt is a with product.
Absolutely. I also am reminded of times where I've had great joy in the midst of great sorrow. I think about it when a friend died very unexpectedly. And I remembered thinking how awful it felt and how I did not want to ever forget that feeling, that I wanted to sit in that awful, awful space for a long time and really feel it, because it reminded me of all the amazingness that he was. And so therefore, when I think about it now, because I knew the pain would eventually start to dull, they would eventually dull. And it has, but I can still feel that awful feeling, which reminds me of the joy that was his life.
I love that. That's powerful.
So when we talk about joy, it is a tiny thing that is so powerful. Of course we can offer that to our kids, but I really just want to end this little quick bite thinking about what would it look like in our world today? Look for those things, notice those things, pause, just soak it in for just 3 seconds, 3 minutes, if you can, because it will start to rewire your brain.
Thanks, Ginger. Look for the joy, folks. It's powerful. Thanks for joining us today. Have a good one.